Hello, everyone, and welcome to a virtual conversation that I'm really looking forward to today. We're going to be talking Innovating Talent Development, Cleveland's Path to Excellence in Computer Science. My name is Chris Berry. I'm the president and CEO of OhioX. We're a statewide nonprofit organization working to build Ohio into a tech hub. And as we work with companies and organizations from startups to Fortune 500 companies and everything in between, one of the biggest topics for all of them is tech talent, tech education, so they can have the tech workforce that we need to build the Silicon Heartland. And so certainly computer science is at the heart of that. So I'm really looking forward to today's conversation around how Cleveland and some of the work happening in Northeastern Ohio is really helping to shape and develop that. Today's conversation is presented by the Ohio Innovation Exchange, which we're excited to partner with and grateful for their partnership. You'll hear from them in a moment, learn a little bit about the work that they are doing to help make Ohio a leading innovation hub. And so, as we have our conversation today, right now we're doing our welcome and introductions from me on behalf of OhioX. We'll then hear a bit of an overview and demo on the Ohio Innovation Exchange. So stay tuned for that in just a few seconds. And then we'll have some presentations. We're going to hear about Cleveland, what they're doing in computer science for some of the education leaders, some of the business leaders from the Cleveland Clinic. We're really looking forward to that conversation. And then at the end, with the time remaining, we'll get out of here at 1 p.m. or so. We'll have some conversation around questions and answers that you might have. And so certainly during the conversation, by all means, feel free to drop any questions, comments in the chat, put it in the Q&A. Sometimes people enjoy just sending me a direct message as Jeff and myself will MC the conversation as it gets going. And before we start, we really want to, again, celebrate and thank the Ohio Innovation Exchange for helping make this work possible, helping lead on so many innovation efforts across the state. You can check them out at ohioinnovationexchange.org. Our website's ohiox.org. And another just quick, easy, fun one. We'd love for you to share your name, organization, and city in the chat. And so as soon as I stop my portion here, I'll dive in and do that as well. As I mentioned, the Q&A and comments in the chat as well. And then if at any point today or moving forward, you have any ideas around certain things that we can have, and we can have more conversations around topics either like this, more innovation issues happening at higher education, at our research organizations, by all means, please feel free to reach out. And so, Jeff, I'd love to turn it over to you for an overview and a welcome of the Ohio Innovation Exchange. Jeff, thanks for helping pull this conversation together and all the work you are doing.
Thank you so much, Chris. As always, it's a pleasure to work with you. We're just delighted to have this opportunity to share the programming that's going on up in Cleveland. I think you're going to be really delighted to understand the depth and breadth of this particular program, which is just absolutely sorely needed. I'm Jeff Agnoli. I work at Ohio State University, but I'm funded by a grant from the Ohio Department of Higher Ed. My role and function is to serve as a senior liaison for partnerships across the state. So that means recruiting universities to get involved in this initiative, and bringing the message of our partnership to our industry colleagues, employees, and facilitate that kind of collaboration. What I'd like to do is just a very brief demo of our Ohio Innovation Exchange so you can see the value of this tool. It is very unique in the state of Ohio. We are very, very blessed to have the support of the Ohio Department of Higher Ed. What you'll see on the page, it's the URL, by the way, is just simply ohioinnovationexchange.org. That'll take you to this page. I encourage you to visit and bookmark it so you can find your way. You'll notice that there is menus and all that kind of stuff that exists on every website. We feature stories and news things that universities are sharing across their campus and as well for the public. Lots of great information. I encourage you to kind of browse the website. But today I just want to talk about our search engine. There are 3 buckets of data that we collect and curate, faculty experts, and we have over 12,000 of those across all of our campuses. We're delighted to say that the University of Toledo is going to be joining this system very soon, and hopefully Bowling Green down the road. We also have information on research equipment, services, centers, and institutes, a variety of things, and then intellectual property that can be licensed. So why would someone want to use this tool? So today's topic is about computer science, and perhaps you're just looking for faculty members that work in that space across all of these campuses. By just putting in that simple phrase, you're getting a list of over 981 faculty that have computer science. And the system actually will tell you where it maps. So it might be that it's part of their research bio, or their grants funding that they've received, or one of their keywords. You can quickly filter by institution. So we'll go ahead and filter it down by Cleveland State because they're our featured presenter today. And you can see 39 faculty members across the campus that are involved. When you pull up their profile, you're going to get a brief bio about what they're about. You're going to get social media access to videos and things that they've done, their degrees. There's a link here to their collaboration network that shows the people that they collaborate with, both at Cleveland State and other institutions. Forgive me for looking up here for a second. Also, a list of their publications. If it's public access or open access, you can actually read the article directly from this system, which is really nice. And then we curate over 600 sources of sponsors. So faculty members, grants and funding will auto update on their profile, so you can actually read the abstract and learn a little bit about the kind of research that they're working on. In addition to faculty experts, we also have equipment data. And so I'm not putting in a particular keyword, but I'm showing you that there's over 2,300 records in the system, and you can filter that by type. So everything from research instrumentation to services to centers and institutes, databases, and so on, and the data that goes on. I guess I just wanted to give you an insight into that and how it can be leveraged. And then the last bucket of data is patent opportunities or intellectual property. And so you can see across the state of Ohio, it may or may not be something that ever comes up at a cocktail party, but we have over 45,000 patents from across all campuses in the state of Ohio, which is pretty remarkable. And you can complete filter by putting in keywords. I should have tested this before, but you can see now we're down to almost 5,000 patents related to computer science. You can also filter by assignee, so by campus, institution. The Cleveland Clinic is also here today, so we'll go ahead and limit it. So these are the patents that the Cleveland Clinic has generated around computer science. And if you click on any of these, you can see the detail. It should look familiar. This is the same kind of information that's in the United States Patent and Trademark Office. But companies, medium, small, or startups are always looking for new technologies to kind of advance their profit and their activities. And this is one of the tools that we have in the state of Ohio to kind of start that process. With that, I don't have time for your questions, so I'm going to go ahead and stop sharing. But I'd like to welcome to the stage our colleague, Debbie Jackson, who's a professor and in charge of several initiatives at Cleveland State University. So thanks, Debbie, for being here today.
Sure. Thank you, Jeff. Thank you for the invitation to participate today. Thank you for everyone for taking time. I know this is an extremely busy time of year. I don't know about anybody else, but you feel like you're running around. But I think that what we're going to talk about today is important to our state and to our students, more importantly. So I'm going to talk just for a couple of minutes about our Center for Computing Education and Instruction at CSU. At CSU, I serve as a Vice Provost of Instructional Excellence and Executive Director of the center. We launched the center in January of 24, but that was based on over a decade's worth of work. So it's interesting, Jeff, that you brought up Dr. Sridhar. He's currently the provost at CSU, but was also integral in starting this work more than a decade ago. We began the work in Cleveland with CSU, CMSD, and other school districts alongside the National Science Foundation and the Cleveland Foundation. If I tried to list all of the partners, we would be here all afternoon, and that's not the point. And I might forget some, but I do want to call it National Science Foundation because they have funded a lot of the work that we've done over the past 10 years, and the Cleveland Foundation. Without the support of those two, none of this would be possible. Excuse me. So we began this work more than 10 years ago, as I mentioned. At that time, the Cleveland Metropolitan School District had very few computer science courses available for students to take. So we started with teaching teachers to teach computer science. At the time, the Advanced Placement Computer Science Principles course was new. It was an innovative course built for students to experience computer science and get to know more about what computer science is and can do, and get them interested. So that's how we started the work. Over the last 10 years, we have been able to increase the number of CMSD high schools and middle schools and elementary schools that have computer science in the course. So students in CMSD have the opportunity to experience computer science in school. We're still working on that. We're not finished. It's not in every building, and it's not in every district that touches Cleveland, but that's the work that we continue to do. The other work that we continue to do that we're going to talk about today, that Chelsey and our other colleagues from the clinic are going to talk about today, is the summer internship piece. So once we got a cadre of teachers trained, then we moved on to student summer experiences. So we provide experiences for students in the summer to do internships in computer science and pay them for their time because they're doing work as they learn about computer science and what happens in industry. In addition to those two things, we also support students when they come to CSU or go to another university. We've increased the number of students from CMSD who are pursuing computer science or computer science related degrees at CSU since we started this work. And then we also are active on state computer science committees, trying to impact all of the things that happen while doing research and publishing and talking about what's working and what's not working so that we can help others and spread this work, particularly to urban and rural districts where there's less access to computer science education, both in school and out of school. So I'm going to stop there because I could just keep talking about the center, but I am going to turn this over to Chelsey. I'm happy to answer questions. I will put a link to the center page in the chat. I'll also add my email address, and we are on LinkedIn if you want to touch base after this meeting with me or with Chelsey or anybody else. So Chelsey directs all of our student programming around computer science and STEM internships. She has many qualities that make her amazing at the job she does. But one of the logistics that I'll share is that she shares appointments and access both in the district and at CSU. And I think the combination of being able to be in both those spaces and be a member of those communities has helped really push this forward and helped with getting students into these internships as well as teachers into professional development. So thank you, Chelsey. I'll hand it over to you.
Thanks, Debbie. And excuse my voice today, guys. We hosted a robotics tournament yesterday, so I'm a little bit hoarse. Bear with me. My name is Chelsey Cohn. I serve as the director of the Tech Talent Pipeline. Debbie mentioned the center at Cleveland State, and this Center for Computing Education and Instruction has many tiers, teacher support, students, research, and policy. We're going to take a deep dive into students and the student supports. So a brief overview of what student supports means is what I'm going to go over. And then I'm going to dive even deeper into summer internships for high school students, which is the main topic for today with our awesome Cleveland Clinic partners. So within the center, we think of student supports in a variety of ways, but we break it down into school year, after school, and summer. We want to keep students engaged throughout the entire year without any breaks of engagement. So in the school year, we try to get more licensed teachers, and we try to support teachers coaching computer science teachers, making sure they have the right resources in terms of whitelisting what they need and equipment and robots and drones and all kinds of fun stuff. After school, we try to help students stay engaged or get access through clubs and robotics competitions or workshops, a variety of ways. When students don't have access during the school day, they can hopefully still get access through after school programming. And then in the summer, we get to do really fun things. For us, that looks like STEM camps. We will have over 300 students in 1 to 3 week STEM camps. Our most amazing STEM camp partner is the Verizon Innovative Learning STEM Achievers Program. We call it VILSAP. And students get to do microbits, robotics, drones, VR headsets, and and 3D printers. So for 3 weeks, students get to rotate through those things. And in all of our STEM camps, they get exposure. But when students turn 14, by June 1st, we actually want to move them into paid high school internships. We have received an awesome NSF grant, which is called the Tech Talent Pipeline. That is how we refer to this programming. But we are talking about high school students who are completing internships, oftentimes with industry partners, and they're also getting paid. Today, we're going to focus on that and go deep in that and really try to help folks understand the systems behind that programming so that you might get involved. If you're in Northeast Ohio, would love to connect with you. But if not, you have other folks you can connect with in your region to make sure that we are getting more Ohio students engaged in IT careers and IT work, anything related to computer science, so that they might understand what they're interested in and then pursue these degrees, pathways, and these careers and fill the jobs in Ohio, high growth, high demand jobs. With that said, I'm going to dive into some fun logistics before I hand it off to the Cleveland Clinic. When we talk about high school programming, it is essential to pay high school students. How do you pay high school students? There are a few programs I would like to highlight today. One of them is TANF funding. Each of you has a regional TANF partner, TANF. Students who come from low SES households will be able to qualify for TANF funding. This has been around for a very long time. It will continue to be around for a very long time. It's a great way to get students paid. And with your partnership, whether you're a university partner or an industry partner, you can give the students the experience without having to pay their wages. The other thing that is really a blessing in Ohio is a newer program out of the Governor's Office of Workforce Transformation. It is called HISTE, High School Technology Internship. This is special because it is not income eligible. It is only based on Ohio citizenship. And so even if you are a smaller company and you're interested in taking high school interns in an IT space for your company, you do not have to worry about paying those student wages. And also, you don't have to wait on a reimbursement. There are intermediaries that will actually take care of the paperwork with the governor's office of Workforce Transformation, and they will pay students and complete all the wages and that paperwork process, so that all you have to worry about is accepting a student onto your team and giving them an awesome internship experience. With that, I think that those systems in place are systems that we want to take advantage of. If you are not familiar with those, I would love to connect offline and help you get connected to the right folks in your region to accept high school students. And today, we're going to actually focus on one specific industry partner who does this really well. I do want to reiterate that this is a best practice partner that we're talking about with the Cleveland Clinic. They have set up an infrastructure with staffing. They have really cool research and internship opportunities that students plug into teams where they get really deep experiences. But I do want to highlight that this type of opportunity is not just for the huge industry partners with lots of resources. If you are a small shop and you have a small company, or maybe you're a relatively new startup and you're interested in taking students, there are systems in place to help you with the placement of students and the process of taking interns as well. These high school IT internships are for a variety of companies across the state. The size and the flavor of internship is just based on your needs, the content that you would really be providing students, and the infrastructure that you do or do not bring to the table. For us, this summer 2025, we will have 300 paid high school interns. We have 21 different work sites. The Cleveland Clinic is one of those. The other 20 sites we support and manage all of the placements for. So just to highlight, out of all of the different placements and partners we work with, the Cleveland Clinic manages their whole process and has a great infrastructure to build that out. But no matter who you are, you can plug into these systems with your regional partner, or in Northeast Ohio, let's chat. But there are ways to make sure that you can identify the types of prerequisites that your students might come to the table with, and make sure that the matching process makes sense. And then also think about the placement and all those logistics of getting students to your location daily, if that's what it means, and making sure that they have the appropriate follow-up support to be successful throughout the summer, as well as at the end of the summer, being reflective on how we might continue to improve these experiences and internships so that they are mutually beneficial for students, high school student interns, and for the companies and industry partners that they serve. So there is a very extensive process. It is not a random process to send you students. It is not something where you're taking students with absolutely no experience. In our situation, we have students who participate in internships for 4 to 5 years in a row. Each summer, they build and stack experiences. In the case of the Cleveland Clinic, other larger partners like NASA Glenn, they typically take students after multiple years of experience, and they are more competitive seats, just like any other college internship might be. So in these situations, you are getting students who have already built up experience. Many of our partners also prefer to take FIRST robotics competition students because they've had over 200 hours on a programming sub-team or a mechanical engineering sub-team or electrical. There are plenty of ways to make sure when you take a high school student, they are ready to plug in with your team. But I do want to note and highlight, when you take a high school student, you should not be afraid to give them real work and real projects. You need to make sure they have an assigned mentor who can be there on a daily basis with them. Daily mentorship in person is really, really key. Virtual experiences for our high school students are much more difficult to get that depth of experience that we're looking for. And then the third thing is, it's important to remember that students are still learning what they like and what they don't like. Part of this experience is about building their network. It is not just the content knowledge that they might be gaining from your team in Python or PLCs or what have you. It might also be just as valuable for them to network with the community and your partners as well, so that as they continue down this trajectory of this IT career path, or choose a niche within this IT career path, they are building the social network to reach out in the future about which degree pathway decisions they might have, which research opportunities they might want to take advantage of, which internships they might want to focus on in college, and get some advice about moving into these careers and hopefully staying in Ohio and taking our jobs in Ohio. So it is not just the experience, it is bringing them into the community and showing them the opportunities that Ohio has to offer. If we want Ohio talent, we need to focus earlier on building that talent and welcoming them into our network so that they can find a home. With that, I'm going to pass it off to one of our best partners who does this really well. And we're also going to highlight the opportunities for college students to be a part of these internships and to mentor our high school students, which is a really special thing happening at the Cleveland Clinic. So without further ado, I would like to introduce Jackie Tinsley and Carlos Herrera. They are going to tell you about our partnership to send high school interns to the Cleveland Clinic. Jackie, thank you so much.
You are so welcome. Thank you so much, Chelsey. Again, my name is Jackie Tinsley. Good afternoon, everyone. I am a program manager here at Cleveland Clinic. Carlos, do you mind sharing? Thank you so much. We are here today to talk about our summer internship programs that we offer here at Cleveland Clinic. Next slide, please. So today, what we'll talk about is we'll talk about who we are. We are the Center for Youth and College Education. That's CCEI. So when you hear me talk about CCEI, that's the name of our department or our center. We'll also talk about the student benefits, what the student gets as a part of being a part of our summer internship program. We'll also talk about our program tracks and the pathways for high school students. And why do we offer these opportunities? We'll go over the overview of the program, the eligibility criteria for high school students, and also important dates that we share with our students. And just so you will see what we offer the students. We'll also talk about the program for the undergraduates. We'll also overview the program, the eligibility criteria for the college students, and also, again, important dates. We'll also share how the students apply and any QA that you would have for us. Next slide, please. So, who are we? This is the CCEI team. We are the Center for Youth and College Education. We offer programming that prepares the next generation, or what we like to call the future caregivers of the healthcare workforce. We aim to provide youth and college learners with career exploration opportunities in the healthcare environment, also give them the opportunity to have hands-on real-world immersive learning experiences. We offer education programming that equips our learners with the necessary professional skills and the social skills that they'll need to be able to hold down a great career. The beautiful thing about what we offer our students as well is when our students come in for their summer internship opportunity, we bring them on as employees. So they're not just contractors or students. We bring them in. Our entire job, if you will, is we're investing in our students as they come in. So we will also put this in the chat. Our website will put it's CCEI at ccf.org. Next slide, please. So some of the benefits, as I said, we bring them on as employees. We also provide additional educational experience. We establish the mentoring relationship. Each student will have a mentor, someone that works at the clinic. Will take them under their wing to teach them what they're doing as far as their job. We give them real work experience, hands-on. They have projects that they will work on. We nurture the personal and professional growth for each student. We also build financial literacy. Not only do we pay these students, we also teach them how to use their money, not to just take their check and go shopping. Oh, I'm going to the mall. No, we try to teach them about investments, credit, what it means to have talking about student loans, different things about that. We also support career preparedness and increase their employability. And we also provide them with the tools that they need to transition from from college and or employment. Next slide, Carlos, please. And I'm going to pass this on to Carlos. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you so much, Jackie. So, good afternoon, everyone. My name is Carlos. I'm an intern here at the clinic, and I've been working for CCEI for about 6, 7 months, and it's been incredible. Just to give you a little bit more background, I started as a college intern in one of the positions that we will talk about in a minute. And then I transitioned to be an intern for CCEI, and it's been incredible, having that opportunity to work at the clinic. It's wonderful. So coming back to business, we have here the program tracks and pathways for high school students. We offer 3 different tracks. We offer the Lewis-Stokes track, the science track, and the advanced technology track. I'm not going to focus on the 2 that are on the left because we're talking about technology, but I'm going to talk a little bit more about advanced tech. So in advanced tech, we have different pathways. High school students get to choose one of these different pathways that we have. We have artificial intelligence, biomedical engineering, coding, computing science in general, cybersecurity, AR and VR development, and data warehouse. So that's more of a data science. Data warehouse is more like a data science kind of internship. And we offer this by positioning our interns in different labs or different offices at the clinic that they require this interns or this extra help. So why do we offer these opportunities? I was mentioning to Jackie that looking at the statistics and numbers is very important. And for computer science, based on the Bureau of Labor Statistics, there's a expected 15% growth between 2021 and 2031. And as you can see here, for some of them, the entry-level education is a bachelor's degree, and the median pay, again, all of this was sourced from the Bureau of Labor Statistics. And you can see there are very interesting positions, and we offer, at certain degree, these positions at the clinic. And the important thing about here is that we want to prepare future caregivers to find, applications of technology into healthcare. So the overview of our program is as we mentioned, is a paid internship experience, $15 an hour. You get hired as a Cleveland Clinic employee, and you will do develop research and project management skills, digital literacy, academic writing, and presentation. It's more of a professional preparation for our interns. And something that I would like to highlight is that for some of our interns last summer, this was their first real world experience. And it's incredible to see how some people, we prepare them. We have an entire week to prepare them. The first week, we do training with them, how to send emails, how to come to work, how to show up to work. Those are very important skills that we care about a lot. So as you can see here, readiness and career preparedness. So I put a little bit in numbers. For our first cohort, we had 23 high school students from all of these counties in Ohio: Cuyahoga, Geauga, Lake, Lorraine, Medina, Stark, and Summit. We had over 43 mentors and co-mentors, and the ratio mentor-student was 1 to 2. So as you can see, even if the mentor was not on site, the students still had a co-mentor to help them and guide them throughout the internship. And that's a picture that we took with the quantum computer. I don't know if you guys have heard that we have the quantum system 1 with 127 qubits to perform, calculations and simulations in nature. It's pretty cool. I'll come back to that in a minute. And these are some of the testimonials from our previous interns and the name of the title of the projects that they worked on. And I just want to highlight some of the things here. Understanding of 3D modeling, C#, VR development. Some of our interns had previous coding experience, but they didn't know how to apply it into a real world problem, and we gave them that opportunity. Some other things here: cybersecurity, HIPAA, and the importance of collaboration in healthcare. So as you can see here, training a machine learning model to track the center of virtual bodies. That was one of the projects that one of our interns was working on, and that says a lot about the potential that students have here in Cleveland. And then the criteria for our high school students is being 9th to 12th grade be at least 15 years old by June 2025, and have a GPA of 2.5 or better on a 4.0 scale. And for the dates, the application it's going to be closed by January 31st, and we're going to start on June 9th. Again, we're going to share, as far as I know, we're going to share all the slides, and you can request more info in our website or send us an email. We're going to share more info at the end of the slides. And now, for our college students, we have the Discovery Accelerator. And that's why I mentioned the quantum computer, because this program is based on research. What we do is we take college students from computer science, data science, statistics, mathematics, biology, any of those related science majors, and we place them in different labs that they're working in either high performance computing, artificial intelligence, or quantum computing, or any intersection of all of them. So in numbers, we've had over 20 college students between the first and the second cohort. As I mentioned, I was part of the first cohort, and we've had two so far, and two high school students were also part of the first cohort. So students were from all over Northeast Ohio. We had more than 10 labs and also principal investigators. And the same thing, we had 1 to 2 student mentor ratio. And we had students from over 10 different universities around the US. The requirements, I'm going to talk about them in a minute. But first, I want to talk to you about the testimonials. As you can see here, medical research in a real-world situation, groundbreaking research, and learning a lot about quantum computing. As you can see here, just for the title, developing a quantum convolutional neural network to predict immunogenicity. So, this is a really incredible experience for you guys. If you have the opportunity to apply, please do so. And then the criteria, high school diploma, must be accepted or enrolled in a college or university, majors, computer science, neuroscience, data science, BME, and must be able to participate in all 12 weeks of the internship program. Again, we have the timeline for our college students is January 10th. So just make sure that it's a little bit earlier than high school students, but start date is about the same, June, May. And I will pass it on to Jackie.
So what we have added here, and I'm going to go back and reiterate, for the high school students who are participating in our summer internship program, that is a 7-week program. The college or undergrad internship is for 12 weeks. We have the QR codes here for anyone interested in applying for these roles. Again, as we bring our students on, the high school students on as employees, they will have to go through everything that someone who applies to the Cleveland Clinic will have to go through. So they will have to go through onboarding. Because they are minors, they do not have to go through background checks. However, our Discovery Accelerator students would have to go through background checks because they are over 18. Next slide, Carlos, please. As I said, if you have questions, we will add this information in the chat. This is our email address. If you have questions, we can put our information in the chat. If you're interested in wanting more, you have more questions about our programs, how we do what we do. And let me just say, as far as funding, we connect with the community. One of our programs, we're connected with PNC. PNC provides dollars to Cleveland Clinic to support our programming. We also have several foundations that connect with us to provide income for the programs. This is their way of investing into the students. And we give them the opportunity to present to the students during workshops during the summer, just to let them know who they are and who's investing in the students. So we're looking at the students holistically, and we work as partners, bring them in to work together to speak to the students, to let them know we're here for you and we are here to support you. So if you have any questions or are interested in our programming, please feel free to reach out.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Well, thank you, Jackie and Carlos. Really appreciate that. And Carlos, thanks for sharing your perspective too. And maybe Jeff, I'll start with a question and then turn it over to you. But Carlos, I'd love to ask from your perspective for companies out there that are considering working with interns. You're someone that you just walked through, have a lot of great perspectives. But as you think about it from a student perspective, what are maybe a couple top line keys that you would give the rest of us that are maybe looking to start a program to make sure it's worthwhile of your time? Because certainly in the tech space, if it's not enjoyable, if you're not learning, I don't think we're going to do a very good job of encouraging you and others to consider these types of careers.
Well, I think promoting the program, it's fundamental. If people do not really know we have this kind of programs, you know, you're not gonna have a successful program of it because you'll be missing your target audience, But in terms of a internship program, I think having that's why I highlighted in our presentation that we have a ratio from 1 to 2 for student and mentor. That's fundamental. We have seen improvement in pretty much the performance of our interns when they had more than 2 mentors because they have people to refer to, people to talk to. Because I'll be honest, I'm still learning, I'm still learning my way through life and everything. And it's incredible having someone to talk to if you have a question, if something's not working, if the code is not working, or you tell them, hey, maybe I'm not interested in this anymore, but I'm gonna complete the internship to get the experience. And that's wonderful. Like that's having that opportunity to be so open, I would like to say. Yeah.
I love that active mentorship and having, as you mentioned, two, so not necessarily just one, I think is a good tactical piece there. So thanks, Carlos. And Jeff, I'll turn it to you.
Sure.
Thank you so much. It's so nice to see the progress that you're all making. So I'll ask a question for the other panelists, and any of you can kind of respond to this. But working with all the different employers and industry partners and things over the years, what's been the biggest surprise in terms of from their perspective? Because you've all given a lot of requirements and steps and components, and I wonder what it's like for the employer once they get involved in this effort, how things might be different. Yeah.
Jeff, I'll take that one first. The biggest surprise that I also have experienced over the last 8 to 10 years is from all of the adults involved in this programming. Once you think it through the systems or you support industry partners, when students get in these seats, or even as they're applying, high school students are often much more capable of completing some of these projects than we might as adults give them credit for. I'm going to use a quantum computing example. Carlos showed a picture of the Cleveland Clinic Quantum System 1 and kind of share a story. I had an intern 3 years ago who was going through the application process, the matching process, and told me he wanted to have a quantum computing internship. I literally laughed. I was like, oh, okay. His name's Musa. I was like, Musa, that one doesn't exist. Like quantum computing internships for high school kids. But he was pretty adamant. And he was like, we've talked about the clinic. The Cleveland Clinic built this. And so he was thinking like, I want to go there and do this. Long story short, he was very adamant. He reached out. He got on the news. He did connect with the Cleveland Clinic. And he took an additional chemistry course online because it's a lot of chemistry and quantum projects. And he completed a KISS-KIT certification, which typically adults and research positions are completing to do this. He did more Python programming. He was the first high school intern to work in a quantum computing lab with Dan Blankenberg at the Cleveland Clinic. He absolutely loved it, and his learning that he shared with our entire community completely blew people away. He moved on to do an AI internship with the clinic the next year, and a different student, Luis Gutierrez, actually moved into another high school quantum computing internship. Now, I'm not saying that you're every single year going to have kids in some niche project, but I am encouraging industry partners to stay open to some of our students who have like gone down a rabbit hole and absolutely love one specific area with some content knowledge to back it up, because they will surprise you. Students do have interests and niche areas, and they can go a lot deeper than you might think, even if they're not yet 18.
Really great. Yeah. Jackie or Debbie, anything else to add or different?
I would have to agree with Chelsey. We experience that all the time. We have students that will come in and we think, and I'll be very honest, because they're young, we have to handhold. And they will blow us out of the water. We give them something, a project, and we think, oh, it is just so complex, and they're done. And it blows, I mean, it runs rings and circles around us, and we're like, oh my gosh. Okay. And so then it makes us where we have to stop and we have to come together as a team to say, okay, we need to be very, very intentional about what we give students. And they teach us. It's really refreshing because they bring a different perspective to the work that we're doing, which is why we need them. We need them with us because it makes us and it causes us to look at our work differently and to look at the possibilities. So it is very refreshing to have them come in and bring their perspective. And we welcome that. We welcome that.
Yeah, that's really great. Debbie, we didn't want to cut you off here.
Jeff, I'm only going to say that is exactly what I thought. When you asked the question, I thought the answer is all of the stuff that the high school kids can do.
Yeah.
And just being, as Chelsey mentioned, just being open to that. I've had employers say to me, well, what would I have a high school kid do here? I don't know. What do you need done? If you give them the tools to do it and the support to do it, they probably can do it. So
that's really great. I just wanted to say, the model in higher education is a faculty member partnered with grad students, undergrads, postdocs. And one of the things we know from research is that some of the most innovative ideas come from the younger, less experienced folks who don't have sort of a siloed understanding of the science. They're still learning, they're still open, and they're willing to try new and different things in the same kind of model. So I think it's great. We should just add high school students to the college experience, which does happen, of course. Great. I don't know. I know there was one question in the Q&A. I don't know, Chris, you want to take that one?
Sure. And I had one other as well, but we have a question on how can a nonprofit working with educating new immigrants or refugee students benefit from this program? And this person is located in Columbus.
Yeah, I'll go first. So nonprofits can be essential partners in this process, as well as industry partners in a different way. Whether you're an industry partner or a nonprofit, let's say you cannot take an intern yourself, you can actually still partner around the projects, the experiences, the curriculum, and in a low-key type of mentorship or providing exposure. We have a lot of partners who actually provide support through funding a cohort, which the sweet spot for high school we've found is about 15 students or less. So funding, you can also provide in-kinds like your space. Some of our IT shops, because of data privacy policies, they might be able to work with students, but not on their site. If you have space to provide for a cohort of students, and maybe even some, use the Wi-Fi, maybe use your lab or have space to run robots or whatever it is. That's an in-kind support that can be highly valuable to this type of programming. The other piece that I wanted to mention, because Chris, I heard this is a specific target population we might be thinking about. I would love to connect online with folks asking this question regarding payment and citizenship. I would love to have that conversation, but either way, it is important to think through how placement matters and how third tier supports might come in place for English language learners. That's another thing I would love to connect offline with. And I want to make clear for the entire audience, we have found students who might still be learning English do really well with programming languages, even if they're not fully sufficient in English speaking. So keep that in mind too. We've been completely blown away by students because it's math, language, and computational thinking. They're good at that. They can do really well with those solutions. It just might take them a little bit longer to explain that to you in English. So there are some value pieces there to keep in mind and to share with the industry partners you're working with as well. And I would love to
Chelsey,
connect offline.
yeah, that's great. And Chelsey, kind of maybe to follow up, and we'll start with you, but then certainly others would love perspective too. But kind of along those lines, one thing we hear a lot about is small tech companies, small businesses, startups even. Cleveland Clinic, probably a bit of a bigger organization with maybe more team members to help in certain areas. But for smaller companies that maybe perhaps don't have dedicated HR teams, or this isn't something they've historically done. Maybe you have a case study, best practice example, ways for them to kind of consider how they might be able to do this, so we can open up opportunities for students like Carlos and others at maybe more tech small businesses, startups across the state.
Yeah, absolutely. I think the first step is connecting with the appropriate regional folks. So finding that HISTE intermediary, high school technology internship. But I'll share us as an example. In Northeast Ohio, when we find someone in the Cleveland area who's interested in exploring a high school internship, we connect with them to understand what tasks you might have students complete. We think about place of work location. It is possible to have a hybrid schedule, but I will reiterate that it's nice to have in person because of that mentor piece that Carlos mentioned earlier. So if some of those pieces are in place, if it can be in person, if there's a mentor willing to work with them, if we know the team they're plugging into, usually we prefer that 2 interns at least are accepted, because then they can also collaborate with each other and have each other in that sense of community. But that's the minimum, accept 2 interns. And then that partner will go back and think through what skills would a student need to have to apply to this specific position. So, it could be language. Are you a Python shop? Are you doing PLC type of things? Maybe if it's just, do they have any experience, or have they seen Power Automate in Microsoft? And are they doing this back-end type of stuff to make your life easier in your workplace? Whatever that is, it's a matching process that you are not responsible for, and you're just giving the skill set so that we can appropriately match those high school students. Keep in mind, these are competitive. So there could be a process where you interview 5 kids for 2 seats. That's kind of your choice in the matter. But the biggest commitment is just accepting them onto your team, uh, giving them some projects to work on, and working with them for about 6 weeks. We can go anywhere from 150 to 200 hours in the summer. But this isn't like college internships where they come, in the semesters in a interspersed way. Summer is beautiful because you get them every day. There's no interruptions in the project. And, usually our high school kids work anywhere from 5 to 6 hours a day for at least 6 weeks.
Really awesome. Congratulations to everybody. I wonder if we could just wrap up with a couple of metrics. So how many students have gone through the program in the last, I don't know, few years? Just on average per year?
Yeah, great question, Jeff, because it's drastically changed and
Okay.
increased. When we started about 8 years ago, we were running 20 to 25 kids a summer. We are now running 300 seats this summer.
that-
The
That's
metric
fantastic.
on completers, I just want to be clear, it is not a goal to have different kids every summer. It is the complete opposite. We want students to come back for multiple summers. We have seen that when students complete these high school internships, and I'm not sure on the number yet, 2 to 3 high school internships in their high school experience makes them much better candidates as college interns as well. So they are more likely to pick up an internship in their first year of college, whereas it's more typical that students pick up college internships in second or third year, but they've had so many experience and not just courses. They've had like projects they're working on. We want to make sure all of our interns at some point experience the agile process. So it's not what they're doing, but how do you work in a team? What's an agile board look like? How do you participate in that stand up? Those types of things too make them much more eligible. But yes, we have drastically increased the number. We are planning to sit around 300 for the next 3 years. And that's because of capacity of our team to manage that placement process and funding for wages and all of that.
Yeah, I was going to say, and then the last question, just real quick, is the number of employers that are involved. I'm sure that number has also evolved over time. And if anything about, you already addressed the roadmap, so we're good there.
Yeah, the number of employers. So we are still confirming a few other partners for this next summer that I'm very excited about. But right now we have 6 employers that we're planning to work with. And we are still struggling through the process with a few employers who I won't mention, but their struggle is not their team that wants to take our kids. Their struggle is their HR team. These are mid-sized to large companies that that have an HR requirement that folks must be 18. And not all of our kids, even if they just recently graduated, are 18 in time. The one example that I will share, though, is from MCPC. They are an end-of-life facility. They have a cybersecurity branch. They are one of our most amazing partners. One of the things they have done, and they have data. They're against the same data regulations everyone else is. They have a line in their shop. You can cross the line when you're 18, but they separated their entire shop so that if you are under 18, you work on this side. And the students know, like, you cannot cross the line. It's a legal parameter. But there are some innovative ways to think about things that could make it possible. But most importantly, it's advocating within your company to rethink policy structures if that's where you're at. And if you're to the point where, okay, they're going to accept a 16-year-old, then it's connecting with folks to understand this lift isn't as large as you might think it is. It's making the connections to then accept the students. Ohio has systems in place. You just have to connect with your regional people to then benefit from those.
Yeah, thank you. Well, you guys are definitely pioneers and you're changing the landscape. So thank you for everything you're doing. I know we only have a minute left, but I just want to thank Chris, all our panelists today, and the opportunity to talk about the Innovation Exchange. I invite you to check it out. I think it might be a really great resource for this program as well. If you're looking for other sites, I think research labs are a really good option, potentially. So across the state. Yep. So thank you. And of course, up in Cleveland. Let me turn it back to Chris.
Well, Jeff, thank you. And to all our panelists and presenters, thanks so much for joining. Thanks for sharing your work. And thanks most importantly for doing the important work to hopefully help increase opportunities for students across Ohio with some really great successes and some stories coming out of the Cleveland area. So appreciate everyone for joining. Thanks for taking the time to participate today. Thanks for everyone that was hopping in the chat. And we'll conclude here. But again, thank you so much for joining and being with us for this conversation. Thanks so much. Bye-bye.
Thanks, everyone. Good day.
Thank you.